Hello! Welcome to Agent Rising, Unit 6, Land Descriptions. Now this is a quick chapter because in Massachusetts we do things a little differently. So, alright, so have your book open to the unit. And get ready for your questions. Okay, so land descriptions. A street address, while helpful for finding the location of a property or a building, is not precise enough to define the perimeter of a parcel of land in a way that excludes all of the parcels. A property description must be legally sufficient or described in a way that will enable a sales contract, deed, or mortgage document to be legally enforceable. A legal description is a detailed way of describing a parcel of land for such documents. The description is based on information collected through a survey. Okay? So generally speaking, when we draw up any sort of paperwork on something, we will enter in what the street address is. For our multi-listing service and for that kind of information, when we do that, it normally attaches to the public records. And the public records populate the other parts of the description, the book and the page, at the Registry of Deeds that it's recorded, the map of the town with a lot, so that, you know, it gives you a picture of what the town has for the lot, of the plot, okay? In this chapter, we're going to identify and explain the methods used for describing real estate, explain the process involved in identifying and measuring property rights, including those above and below the surface, okay? All right, our key terms to record are air lots, baselines, benchmarks, datum, legal description, lot and block, or recorded plot, method, the lock and block method, meets and bounds method, monuments, plot map, POB, which is point of beginning, principal meridians, ranges, rectangular government survey system, sections, survey, tiers, township lines, and townships. So the reason why I say this is a short chapter for us is because Massachusetts does not use a lot of these. So what I want to do is go through them with you and then let you know like how it might be worded on the test, and then let it go. You don't need to learn it. Unless you are planning on being involved. What are you laughing at?
This is the chapter that I said, oh, forget it.
Right, so it is. It's this, and people read it, they're like, I don't get this. What is this about? This is crazy. And there may be one question on the test that says, when a meets and bounds method, you know, what is the point of beginning? Right, so they'll take a couple of those and they'll throw it in. So if we read through it, then you'll have the information that you need. And then we just let that one go, because most of the time it does not involve Massachusetts. Okay, so in the meets and bounds, there's a point of beginning, okay, and then monuments, fixed objects used to identify the point of beginning, all corners of the parcel or ends of the boundary segments, and the location of the intersecting boundaries. Okay, so I think in the meets and bounds, I'm trying to make sure on this, I think the point of the beginning is, actually I'm not even going to go there. This is what you need to know. Okay, rectangular in the government survey, they have a principal meridian, they have tiers and ranges and townships and sections. So when I think of which ones would be used in different kinds of areas, meets and bounds, when they have like, you know, they have the old towns with there's, you know, a school in the middle with the you know, the church and the town hall or whatever, and they work their way out from around there, and they had that point of beginning. When I think of the rectangular or the government survey, I think about like out west, where they have really truly prepared how they're going to like run the cities and the towns, and they have like the A, B, C, D, E, F, G's going this way, and the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7's going this way. You know, how they have the whole entire town all kind of laid out and organized. In those types of areas, they would use these kinds of things. Okay? In Massachusetts, we use a lot and block, a recorded plot. and you go by the lot to block number and the subdivision plot. So, each town in Massachusetts, if you go to, well, there's a couple places to go. If you go to the public records for the town, or you go in there and you say, can I have the plot plan for, 123 Main Street? They come out, and for us, it almost looks like a ziggy-zaggy puzzle, because almost never are the lots the same size, and some are like triangular, and some kind of jot out here, and some look like a piece of pork chop, and you have all of these things, and that's what our plot plan looks like, okay? We did not, because we are so old, and we're such an old area, we did not do any planning when we put together our towns, okay? Seriously, yeah, so that's why ours look like this. So they use the map in the lot, okay? They also, in the survey measuring property rights, so you get the legal description and survey sketch. The other thing that we use is how it's recorded at the Registry of Deeds, okay? So you will see two things. You'll see the book and the page. So the book tells you, what they do for the books is they truly just go, when they fill one book, they go to the next book. Okay, and then the page is whatever page it is in that book. Okay, so what I was telling you before, most of our properties have a high page book number and then whatever for the page number. Okay, and then that certified land, I'm trying to think here, is a small one, a small book. What that means is that they've gone back and they've registered registered land. They've gone through and they've registered that land is clear, and that land basically has been cleared for title. So a lot of people won't do title insurance on that. I'm still like, whatever, I would not say don't. Okay. Now, in your books, do you have drawings of all these things I'm talking about? Mm-hmm. Okay. They kind of give you some visuals on this. Again, what you just need to know are those, as much of the definition I just gave you. Although, what do they say that the school number is? They sometimes
16.
ask that, 16. They sometimes will ask what the school number is.
School number?
The school number on the it's the meets and bounds, right? On the meets and bounds, they identify like each one from the point of beginning. Number 16 is your school. Sometimes they ask that.
Okay,
Okay.
I'm sorry, I don't understand
What don't you understand?
the school thing.
Okay, so those two other ways of doing land descriptions tend to involve that they came up with the town before they laid out the town, before they created the town. And so what they do is they identified in there where certain things were. And they have a point of beginning, and then the school is normally in the blocks, because it's number 16.
Because
So
it's in the middle.
if you look up what page is this?
Page
90.
If you look at page 90, that's what the town looks like, how they have it identified. Okay? And so when they're setting it down, they put the school in number 16. I don't know why.
The actual school.
Oh, okay.
Because
So
they said
this
it's
is when
centrally
they're-
located for all the students in the township, so that
Okay.
it isn't way over here and everybody's gonna travel here, it's in the middle.
Okay, thank
That's
you.
what they said.
Well, that sounds good then. Now I know why.
As long
Only
as
for
they
I told you I have not read
walk
this
the
book.
way
What?
on the
New
trail.
areas, new towns.
No, this is for this is not for New England. You know, like this is just so hard for us to even comprehend that this is how an area would be set up. But again, when you go to places and they have like, here's A Street, here's B Street, here's C Street, everything goes like this, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, and how easy it is, and you're going like, oh my God, this is like so organized, and anyway, so that's the difference. But they won't ask you to figure out a formula on any of those things, so you don't have to know how to do that. Okay? I know. Okay, so measuring elevations, air lots and datum. I don't know what they're referring to in there. Who wants to read that for me? Okay, look at all the heads. Done. Everyone's like, I'm not dropping my head down.
I'll read it if I can find it.
I can read it if you want.
Okay.
Recall that land includes the space above the ground. In the same way that land may be measured and divided into parcels, the air may be divided. The owner may subdivide the airspace above the land into air lots. Air lots are composed of airspace within specific boundaries located over a parcel of land.
Okay. And who wants to read to me about datum? Thank you. Okay, go ahead.
Not afraid. A datum is a point, line, or surface from which elevations are measured or indicated for the purpose of the United States Geological Survey. Datum is defined as the mean sea level at New York Harbor, but virtually all large cities have local official datum that is used instead of the USGS datum. A surveyor would use a datum in determining the height of a structure or establishing the grade of a street. USGS has information on a variety of climate, land use, and environmental issues, as well as state site locator.
Okay. Who can think of where that might come in handy these days?
Near the water.
Right, because what do we have going on?
Flood insurance.
Flood insurance and flood zones. Okay? So this is kind of how they come up with that. All right, and so they do the different points of the elevation to figure out what it is and how high the house is, or how far they are, you know, in that flood zone or whatever, by the elevation. And when you talk to them, what they'll say to you is that they'll ask for data points. They'll say, oh, I have one over at, you know, blah, 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 and it's, you know, cheaper to do a flood elevation certificate on a home if they've already developed it or taken the readings somewhere else. Okay? I think we'll talk a little bit more about that when we get to the environmental issues. Monuments and benchmarks, okay? And then units of land measurement. So, one of the things in the monuments and the benchmarks is, I was talking about that, some of our stuff is so old that they use really old things. And truly, it's like, it is streams and, you know, Hartley's pond, you know, and stuff. And, you know, you sit there and the things have changed dramatically. So, they change those as they go around.
I have a granite marker, a big, like 3 feet tall.
Yes, and it's nice because the granite markers don't move. You know, one of the things that's hard for us as realtors is when you go and they put stakes in the ground, and so someone's paid to have it surveyed, and they've paid all that, and they have the landmarks, and they put these little stakes in the ground, and then we get a snowfall like last year, or kids next door or something, and the stakes are moved, and then it's not accurate anymore. So we never make complete representations on what landlines are. We always say, well, it'll be surveyed, you can have it professionally surveyed, here's what I think it is. Okay? Okay, so beyond this unit, you're gonna do all the same things you did before, okay? And you're going to, you know, it's funny because I've had a couple people who don't believe me when I tell you that there may be one question or 2 questions that we talked about on the test. And they go and they study it and they learn it anyways. And then they all come back to me and guess what they say?
Wasn't on.
You're right, it wasn't on the test, okay? Because we don't do it in Massachusetts. All right, so let's just do a couple quiz questions. When surveying land, a surveyor refers to the principal meridian, okay, that is, I don't think we need to know this, so I'm gonna pass on that. Okay, a buyer purchased a half-acre parcel for $2.15 per square foot. What was the selling price of it? Okay, so an acre has, and they give you this on the, by the way, they give you some mathematical numbers. They give you how many feet are in an acre. They give you whether they're using 360 days or 365 days. They give you, I don't know, a couple other things that will come up as we're going along in the math. But an acre is 4,300,43560.
B.
Yeah, feet, thank you.
No, B.
B.
I said
Oh.
B, not B.
B. Okay? So, now if I was doing my mental math, right, if I just told you 43560, right, and it's a half-acre parcel, so I cut it in half, and then I see that dollars by 2, so that times it by 2, and that's the only one it could be. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about mental math for the test. on this test. When you're doing this math, one of the things that is best for you to do is ask yourself what number makes sense. Okay? So as you're going into the test and they ask you a question like this, you know, is it in the thousands? Is it in the 100,000s? You know, is it a single number? Is it a fraction? And like, what makes sense? So in this one, if I said you know, again, 43560 cut in half, then times by 2. So you got to know that it's probably going to be about that. So good job. Mental math is really important for your practice of real estate because people will ask you questions as you're going on the fly, and they'll ask, and you have to quickly figure out like an answer for it. You know, so I mean, again, you can always jump onto your calculator and figure it out. You know, but if you could just get a mental math number and kind of get used to some of the things. Okay, so a parcel of land is 400 feet by 640 feet. The parcel is cut in half diagonally by a stream. How many acres are in each half of the parcel? So when we do math for real, I will give you out some dry erase boards to work on. But let's just do our mental math on this, right? What's 64 times 4? About? 24,000, right? So then you would have that by square feet, and then it's cut in half diagonally by a stream, right? So that'd be the 24,000 would be cut in half, right? So then you're down to about 12,000, and we know an acre is 43560. So we know that that's about
quarter.
Yeah.
By B.
B,
So
A or B.
it's B. Okay, so those kind of things, like, so just kind of mentally go through the steps. And again, on the test, you're gonna wanna go back and check it. But make sure it makes sense. You know, a lot of times, you know, we laugh like they'll ask a commission question, and if the house is $100,000, and, you know, you have a 6% commission, and the answer is like $90,000, you know that's not gonna happen, right? So check it, no, seriously. I'll tell you what though, I have learned that nobody ever gets commission questions wrong. So everybody has a little bit of mental math in them. Okay, here we go. We just talked about this. In any township, what is the number section designated the school section?
16.
16. Okay, that's what they may ask you on the test. That is one of the test
As far as
questions.
the others, Kate, on all those squares, do you think they ask you a lot of
They
that
don't.
southwest, north?
They don't. They don't. Okay. All right, so we're good for this chapter. We are going to just jump right over to chapter 5 for the Massachusetts one, okay? So hop right on over to chapter 5,
No,
legal descriptions in Massachusetts. So this is a pretty cool way of doing it, because you guys are getting the general and the mass together. Well, it's all hot in your brain. Who's here? Well, who's here? Hi, is Jeff here? I don't know, Jeff.
I think you did just come in.
I saw him around here somewhere. So Jeff's the other attorney. We don't make as much fun of him. He's not as good of a sport, I don't know. Maybe he is. Maybe we don't know him as well. Okay, methods of describing real estate. Massachusetts does not use the rectangular system for the description of property. It has been impractical to attempt to change all existing meets and bounds descriptions, and the land is far too irregular in contour to allow the rectangular survey system to function effectively. So that's kind of what we talked about, right?
Yes.
That would just, you know, be too old of an area. In Massachusetts, the land is described in what is called the full legal description. Okay, so that's how they call it. So the full legal description consists of the following 3 elements: street or designated address of the property involved, meets and bounds description. Meets is the distance used in the description, bounds is the directions of the boundaries that enclose the property, and monuments, the landmarks used in the reference points in the description. Okay, and then they reference the description of the property, okay? So it could be like a single family dwelling located on 0.13 acres of land found on map 32, lot 41, and, you know, blah, blah. And then they would also identify the book and the page. Actually, it's probably gonna get into this. Okay, to use the full legal description depends on a fixed set of boundary markers. Generally, each survey or description will begin as a monument, something called the benchmark, which is fixed and permanent. Then the description proceeds around the property, going from monument to monument. In Massachusetts, monuments are commonly iron pipes, granite blocks, trees, boulders, stone walls, telephone poles, or buildings. Okay, I think sometimes, I'm not sure about this, but I do believe that they're involving GPS coordinates as references also. You know, I know that we just bought some land in Vermont, and that's what they did. They had it by GPS coordinates. Generally, each survey or description, okay, we just talked about that. And that's my quiz. Okay, so before we get into that, I'm just gonna talk to you, yeah, that was a short chapter. So, here, book and page, your plot map from the town, and the description of what you have there, and then your benchmarks. Those tend to be the things that go into your legal description, okay? All right, so let's do a couple quiz questions. Which of the following is not an adequate description in the land of deed?
Street address.
Right. They just hate that street address, don't they? Yep. It's not sufficient. A meets and bounds description will. I think it's A.
I think it's an A.
Hey, yay, we're right. A meets and bounds description starts at a well-marked point at the beginning, follows the boundaries of the land, and returns to the point at the beginning. Okay, the data for meets and bounds description is created by a landowner, bank attorney, licensed surveyor.
C.
Right? C. Good job. Okay. Answer. Okay, we're not gonna do this. You guys can do this after. Okay, so any questions on this? Okay.